Okay, so what's the deal with limiting beliefs? If you've seen the work of maybe other coaches, or maybe you've been to a workshop or read a few books on procrastination, perfectionism, you'll see that most of them usually go straight into the inner child wound and limiting beliefs. So, what's a limiting belief? So, limiting belief is this idea that you've taken on at some point, usually during childhood, that you're not worthy, that you're stupid, or whatever, that you believed, and that right now, because you don't question it, because you don't contrast it to a reality, it's still governing your life. So, although there might be some truth to that, my experience has been that working with limiting beliefs in that way can get you stuck. So, how does that happen? Well, the thing is that if you try to get rid of the limiting belief by replacing it with another one, or by rationalizing it, or by convincing yourself, like sort of fake it till you make it, what will happen is, to some degree, you'll see some progress. To some degree, you'll see change. But when the shit really hits the fan, when your nervous system really does get triggered, you'll go back to square one, and you'll wonder what the hell happened. You'll say, like, why do I self sabotage like this, right? I was sure that I did believe I was worthy. And then you'll be like, well, I mean, I get it intellectually, but I don't really feel it. What do I have to do in order to feel it, like effortlessly, and to continue feeling it when shit gets really tricky, shit gets hard? Well, here's the thing, these limiting beliefs are there for a reason. If you go deep enough with enough curiosity, you'll see that usually this is the part that got stuck in this very, very intense protective role, and it's just constantly trying to convince us to avoid risk, to avoid the risk of vulnerability, usually. So, what it's doing is it's telling you you're not worthy so that you don't expose yourself, so that you don't attempt to get love, attempt to receive affection. You just stay put, you don't show yourself, and you don't risk that potential situation of danger, that potential problem of showing up in front of somebody as a human being and getting rejected and being ignored and being invalidated. So the more it convinces you that you're not worthy, the more you're going to stay, small, you're going to stay concealed, and you're not going to risk somebody else telling you, who the hell do you think you are, right? If you don't feel worthy, you're not going to put yourself in a situation which is going to trigger other people by showing your greatness, right? By showing them who you really are. That's what this little part is trying to do for you, is trying to protect you. And it's doing a damn good job. If you were to see the world through this part's glasses, if you were to see the world as this part that is only trying to protect you, if you were to analyze, it's doing a pretty good job because you're not taking any risks. You're staying put. Of course, you have other parts that are telling you, life like this is not worth living. You need to take risk and blah, blah. But from the perspective of this very, young, scared part, it's doing pretty good, right? So instead of trying to get rid of it, which is what seems to be happening when you try to get rid of limiting beliefs, we can try to understand it. We can say, like, well, thank you for trying to watch out for me. Thank you for all the work you've been putting in year after year trying to keep me safe by keeping me small, right? This is not to say, okay, you can retire now. I'm going to just go out into the world and get hurt. Obviously not. We have to learn to care for ourselves in a way that this part isn't doing very well because it's very young. It doesn't have the resources that we could possibly have. But it's very loyal and it's very hardworking. So if we can learn to replace it in a healthy way, then maybe it can just chill, right? And it won't be so scared. So back to the limiting beliefs. How can this be a messy problem? Well, maybe you're in a workshop in which they say that you need to challenge these limiting beliefs by telling them that they're wrong, right? By saying, no, I am worthy, right? Contradicting them, right? It's like you wake up in the morning, you say, I'm worthy, I'm worthy, I'm worthy. Even if you feel unworthy, no, just keeps convincing yourself that you're worthy. Make that unworthy voice go away. That's what you might get in workshops. I've experienced this. I've tried to make it work, and I couldn't. And I just felt more like a failure, and I felt more unworthy because everybody else seemed to be getting it, right? The guy on my left, the guy on my right, they were like, oh, I'm starting to feel a little bit more worthy now. It's kind of like fake it till you make it, and it's kind of working. So it's like, if everybody else is doing it and I can't do it, then what? Am I stupid? Am I not working hard enough? Maybe I should just, stay awake longer so I can just keep programming my brain to believe that I'm worthy, right? So that never really worked out for me, right? And the worst part is that if I couldn't make it happen, then I felt even worse, right? So what's the deal with these limiting beliefs? There is the other way. The other way is, instead of challenging it, instead of telling it to go home, it's to listen to it and try to understand why it's trying to persuade you that you're unworthy. And then there's the other guy that's saying like, no, you're worthy. Stop saying you're unworthy. Because the other guy in the workshop is going to realize that you still have this limiting belief, and he's going to say, oh, this guy's useless, right? I'll never hire him, right? So you have this kind of little inner battle, right? Between the guy that's like, I feel unworthy, and the other guy's like, it's not safe to show that you're unworthy. If you show others that that you feel unworthy, then that is shameful in itself. And that is a dangerous situation. That's a place you don't want to go. Right? So we put on that little mask that we start to feel worthy, or we start to laugh it out. We start to, not take ourselves so seriously, but, deep down inside, we know it's still there. So how does this resolve? So pain wants to be witnessed. That's basically it. Pain wants to be witnessed. So the guy that's saying it's not safe to show that you still have those feelings of unworthiness, it wants to be witnessed. It wants to say, damn, we set the bar high in this workshop. It's really difficult to have to always feel this worthiness and kind of constantly have to, it's stressful. I'm tired. So that's, showing that pain and just allowing it to be witnessed without judgment. That's how I felt in the workshops. And then there's the other one. Then there's the one that feels unworthy. It's like, damn, I feel unworthy. And just have it out there. Witness it. Allow it to be. We don't need to fix it. We don't need to help it. We just need for it to express and just witness it. Just be like, yeah, you feel unworthy. Maybe that guy's trying to tell you something, the part that's telling you you're unworthy. And maybe the part, in my case, one day it said, yeah. We are never, ever, ever going to be humiliated like that one time that we, asked somebody for affection and they said no. I'm never, ever risking that happening again. So I'd rather feel I'm not worthy instead of feeling, oh, I'm worthy. I want somebody else to, also approve of me the way I am, authentically. I want to show up authentically, and I want people to hug me, to love me, right? This guy was like, you're never doing that again, so you're unworthy. And this is something that will start to show up if you allow for the witnessing, and it can be painful, and you'll remember stuff that, maybe it was tough to go through at the time. But eventually, if you allow for these feelings, you'll see that all the parts of you are really there, including the limiting beliefs. All the parts, including the limiting beliefs, are there to try to lend a hand and are working really hard. So when you realize you have all these inner parts working so hard for you, it's hard to feel anything except compassion. You're like, wow, these guys really have, they're really trying to make it all work out for me. And eventually comes the part where you really were hurt. And that's just also looking to be witnessed. And when that is accepted and when that is witnessed, then those limiting beliefs kind of relax. They are not so scared anymore. And because they're not so scared, you don't need to constantly be trying to tell them how wrong they are. No, I'm worthy. No, I'm worthy. You don't need to tell them that. If they relax, then, they can just kind of chill instead of work so hard. And those limiting beliefs, it's not that you just changed one with another. They just don't serve their purpose anymore. If you're not so scared of taking risks, then feeling unworthy isn't that useful. It's not that urgent. Maybe it'll come back one day. Yeah, sure, maybe it will. But if you understand what's behind it, that good intention, then you don't really need to start, changing around your limiting beliefs, but just relax and let it all be. I hope this helps. And for sure, we'll be expanding on a lot of these topics in the future in other videos.